NASCAR charged into Mexico this weekend, so I decided to make some homemade flour tortillas. I'll give you a step-by-step next on Racin-n-Braisin. Well, hi folks, welcome back to another edition of Racin-n-Braisin, a special cooking episode here for you. My name is CJ. I am a chef with over 20 years experience and a lifelong NASCAR fan, and I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you here today on flour tortillas. NASCAR has roared into Mexico City this weekend. If you're following along on my channel, you know that my menu generally highlights a regional dish. And of course, this week, no different, I'm doing some chicken fajitas. But chicken fajitas, it's a very basic thing. Why do a video about that? Instead, let's up our game and make some homemade flour tortillas. Nothing better than a fresh made flour tortilla and far outweigh anything that you're going to buy in a store for sure. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it, and there's several ways for us to attack this. Of course, this is a time-consuming process. It's going to take us a little while, and that's actually perfect for while we're watching the race here today because we have the time to kill, and we'll let our food cook in the background while that's going on. So a couple of different things that we're going to work with here today. We're going to use a tortilla press. But chef, I don't have a tortilla press. Okay, no worries. We don't have to use a tortilla press. I've got another method for you with a rolling pin. Then we'll use a tortilla warmer for our key element here today. But chef, I don't have a tortilla warmer. Okay, I hear you. Yeah, you don't have a tortilla warmer. Not everybody does. That's okay. I'll show you another method with a pot and a warm towel. All right, guys, so let's head on over now to the prep table. Let's get our mise en place, talk about the ingredients that we're going to use, and then we'll get working on these flour tortillas. Okay, guys, we have moved over to our prep table, and we've got all of our things in place. We have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/3 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of warm water. All of these are going to combine. We can either combine them by hand or we can use a stand mixer, and that's what I'm going to do here next. We have pulled out the stand mixer and we've put our 3 cups of flour into the bowl. Remember, measurements, generally 1 cup of AP flour is 120 grams. So in our case here, we're using 360 grams, which is exactly how I measured my flour. We're going to add our dry ingredients to it. That was our baking powder. Here's our salt and a little bit of humidity here in the air here today. And we're just going to close this up, put it in lock, and we're just going to mix everything together with our hook. And now we're going to add our oil. We're reducing the speed, add the oil in. And let's add our warm water. Now, just warm to the touch. It basically just above room temperature. You don't really need it to be too hot. And now we're just going to mix it on a medium to low speed and let it go until it forms a ball. This is going to take about a minute or so. Okay, it's been about a minute now of mixing and we can see everything is really tightened up and it's starting to form that ball. We're going to allow it to mix for 1 more minute and then we're going to turn it out onto a floured surface. We've put our mixer away. We've got our bowl here with our dough in it. We're ready to turn it out onto a surface. First thing we're going to do is flour that surface. Just do a dusting up out here, not too much. There we go. And then take a little bit and just rub it on your hands. You're definitely going to want this flour. All right, let's get this dough out. I'm using a spatula to scrape down the sides and just kind of coax it into position here. There's our dough. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that flour and just kind of cover everything here just very lightly. And now I'm going to set this off to the side here. And I'm going to press this personally. This is how I do it so that I can just kind of get everything even. put it into a bit of a square like that. And now I'm taking my bench scraper, my pasta cutter. I now have 4. In half again. I now have 16 roughly the same size shapes, and we can adjust as we need to, like these two, probably a little bit long. Now, I'm going to roll these into a ball. Make sure that there is a little bit of flour on them. Roll them into a ball. And then we're just going to take our palm and press them. Give them a light press like that, and then set them aside. And repeat. Okay, guys, in the span of about 5 minutes while sitting here watching the pre-race show for the Mexico City race, I have been able to form. Our next step here is very important. We're going to take a clean kitchen towel and we are going to cover these bad boys and let them sit for at least 15 minutes. The purpose behind this is we're allowing the gluten inside the dough to relax. Give it a good 15 to 20 minutes before we move on to our next step. All right, guys, we've had about 20 minutes now to let our dough rest. It hasn't changed any. It's just allowed the gluten inside of the flour there to just relax and loosen up for us so that we can now have an opportunity to press these out. I have a tortilla press and I am going to use that, but not everybody does. So I do want to show you how to do this with a rolling pin. So again, I've got my flour. I'm just going to add a little bit to my fingers here so nothing really sticks. And we're just going to take and we're going to kind of just form this out into more of a flat disc shape like that. There we go. Now we've got our rolling pin here, and I'm just going to grab a little more flour here just to help me along because I don't want anything to stick. And now very gently, just going to start rolling out. It's sticking already. I didn't have enough flour on the surface. There we go. That is an awful looking tortilla. Got it back into shape there. There we go. All right. Here's what I want to show you. If you guys are watching very closely, you see how the dough is kind of springing back on us? We don't want that. We want the dough to relax a little bit more. It hasn't had enough time. We're going to come back to this in another 10 minutes. All right, guys, it's been another 10 minutes of letting our gluten rest in our dough here. And we're going to give this another shot. Once again, more flour on the hands. And I'm just going to allow that to go over top of all of my dough here so that I'm not sticking so bad. And let's get this guy spread out just one more time. That's just not cooperating with me. So that one is a loss. That's okay. I've got 15 others to play with. All right, let's try our next one here. One more time, we are going to get this guy formed into a rough disc, just like that. Now let's go ahead and roll ourselves out. Just crisscross as we go. If it's sticking, get yourself a little more flour going on. There we go, much better. All right, nice and thin, ready to go. And I'm just keeping my fingers floured so nothing really gets messed up there. And we're just going to grab it and I'm transferring over to a piece of parchment paper. Now, I'm going to rinse and repeat on this, but I personally am going to start using my my press for that. So we'll get that guy set up and I'll show you how we do a press. Okay, so I've got my press here. I'm going to open this guy up. Trick that I have learned over the years, definitely use a piece of parchment paper. Make sure you have some flour down on both sides of it. Very important, otherwise you are going to be getting some super sticky tortillas. And then let's go ahead and just get ourselves into a little ball here, disc shape. Find your thickest part and put that towards the hinge, and notice how I'm keeping that kind of closer to the hinge side as I do it, because what's going to happen is it's going to press that direction as we set it down. Give it a nice press just like that. Open her up. Let's see how we did here. Already looking good. Let's get it started just a little bit, nice and gentle. And peel back, and there we go. We've got ourselves a nice little flour tortilla. Okay guys, so we are ready to get our tortillas in a pan. This process is going to be very quick, which is why I brought out the timer here for you guys to show you exactly how fast this goes. We're allowing our pan right now to warm up on a medium heat, and just waiting for that to come up to temperature. If you guys do happen to have a griddle pan like I do here, go ahead and get that guy set to 250 degrees. That seems to be a really good temperature to work with. The cook itself is only going to take 45 seconds to a minute on one side. Then we're going to do a quick check, make sure we're getting a slight amount of browning. And we're also going to see some bubbling on the opposite side, the uncooked side. When we see that, we're going to get it flipped over 15 to 20 more seconds, and then we're going to put it in a container. Most of us do not have tortilla warmers. I happen to have one that I purchased a couple of years ago. Real great for this purpose. It's going to allow us to put our warm tortillas in that warmer and allow them to steam together, which is actually going to finish the cooking process. If you don't have one, that's okay. Grab yourself a sauce pot and that clean kitchen towel, and you're just going to transfer the tortillas into the sauce pot and cover with the clean kitchen towel just like that. Make sure if you're using a gas range that you're staying away from any open flames when you do that. All right, guys, temperature has come up. I'm going to go ahead and grab my tortillas. We're going to put them directly in the pan. No extra olive oil or any sort of extra grease. Just put them directly on the pan. We don't need to fry these. All right, I've got my tortilla. Just going to put it in the pan there, just like that. And press the timer. Like I said, 45 seconds to a minute. All right, guys, there's 45 seconds. I'm going to take my tongs here and just check, and we're starting to get a little bit of coloration on the backside. Let's let it finish off. That whole minute, there we go, whole minute, and now we can just take and flip it over. And that's it. I mean, just real simple. Another 20 more seconds here, and then we're ready to put it into our container. All right, guys, tortillas have finished. Now I've cooked up my chicken fajitas here, so I'm going to go ahead and give myself a nice little bite here. Let's put some chicken on there. I've got some bell pepper here. And let's see how this worked out. I'm sure it's going to be delicious. There is nothing like a fresh flour tortilla. Pillowy, soft, sturdy, delicious. Really allows the rest of the meal to shine through, because you know there's nothing extra in there that you don't know anything about. So next time you guys are making Mexican food at home, I hope you take a couple of minutes to go ahead and make yourself some fresh flour tortillas to go along with your food. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you tried it. If you did, be sure to take some pictures and post them on my Facebook or X account. And I will catch you guys on the next Racin-n-Braisin. Cheers.